Hello everyone, my name is Tali Chiapo and I'm excited to be sat down here having a chat with you about life after formal employment. Jobs end, guys. Jobs end. It doesn't matter whether it's due to old age, whether it's due to early retirement, whether it's a retrenchment, your company is downsizing after a restructure, or whether it's due to dismissal because of misconduct in the workplace. Work ends, job ends, let me put it that way. So the reality is, those of us who are lucky to have jobs, we've got to prepare for that time when that job is no longer available. And my story actually, 2021 December, I got retrenched from De Beers, and this was together with a bunch of other colleagues. And fortunately for me, I felt like I was ready for it. I've been, you know, working my finances throughout employment to prepare for such a moment. However, I felt there were some of my colleagues who kind of struggled through it, who took it hard, and it's been rough. It's been a rough journey for them trying to recover, trying to figure out their balancing. And it's quite difficult to stabilize your life after once the retrenchment has happened. A lot of the work that needs to be done needs to happen before while you are in employment. So I want to share 3 tips that I think worked for me and hopefully can work for you. Now, I'm not trying to duplicate what other people have done. There's a lot of videos on this on the internet, but I'm going to share my experience, and if it can resonate with you and you feel it works for you, go ahead and try it. Tip number 1 will be on managing your expenses. Manage your expenses. While you are an employee, manage your expenses. Tip number 2, save and invest. As much as you can, save what you earn and invest. Tip number 3, once you get that exit package at the end of your employment, take 6 to 12 months before you actually spend it. So let's talk now about manage your expenses. I remember in 2016, I was joining De Beers. I was coming from a salary where I was earning 13,000 in my previous employment, which translates to about 1,000 US dollars a month. And De Beers was offering me 40,000 pula per month, which translates to around about 3,000 US dollars per month. This was a 3 times jump from my previous salary to this new salary with De Beers. Man, I was excited. I was over the moon. I think, fortunately for me, I understood that I was working in a diamond exploration company. And I understood that when there is no exploration, the company has to downsize, look for new licenses, and then once it gets those new licenses, it can expand again and hire more people. So I was, from day one, readying myself for such a moment. And I don't think it needs to take such a drastic or an unstable work environment in order for somebody to be responsible with their finances. A lot of the times when we get a salary jump or we get a new job, there's this tendency to want to suddenly try to change our lifestyles. And normally we change our lifestyles with 2 big things that we introduce in our lifestyles that really impact our finances. It's a brand new vehicle bought on loan, and it's a mortgage for the house that we live in. Guys, the reality is this: you have been living just fine with the money that you have. True, life is never perfect. Money is never enough. There were struggles for sure. That's why you're excited for this new job. That's why you're excited for this new money. But let's be honest. There's no life and death scenario that is pressuring you to spend this money. You were sleeping, you were eating, you were breathing, you were going to the toilet, you were walking, you were talking to people, you had family, you had friends. All these things you were able to do before you got the job. And the truth is, you still have them after the job, There's really nothing that is life and deathy that is pressuring you to spend this money. Why can't you just maintain your lifestyle? Why do you need to prove to anybody, or even yourself, why do you need to prove that you are now capable and worthy of this this new purchases that you are making. So my advice is stay away from those two big evils. Stay away from the vehicle finance, stay away from the mortgage for the house that you live in. Those two big expenses will really destabilize your ability to try and execute point number 2, which is save and invest. I will do a separate video on expenses because, I mean, we're in Africa. We know that there's black tax. There's a lot of other issues that impact our ability to use money prudently. But in broad terms, here's my rule of thumb. Your salary that comes to you, your net after deductions for tax and pensions and so forth, and medical aid, you need to have, I would say, a 30, 20, 50 split. So 30% of that income, that net, needs to go towards saving and investing. 20% of it should go towards guilt-free expenses, like your holidays, your travel, your entertainment. And then 50% needs to go towards the fixed expenses. So your rental, your grocery bills, your electricity, water bills, your school fees, whatever it is, your fuel. I will talk a little bit more about that because it is complex. I know asking somebody to spend money wisely is on its own not enough. However, I do want you to ask yourself, how much are you spending right now on the home loan? And how much are you spending, be it home loan or your rental? And how much are you spending on your vehicle loan? And if you find that you are spending, a substantial amount, you really need to sit down and review. You can't keep, there's no way you're going to be ready once the job is finished. There's no way you're going to be ready. Even if it's old age retirement, you will not be ready because the money they give you in terms of the pension, it's just not enough to sustain the lifestyle you've been living. You've got to make those changes now. So point number 2, tip number 2, save and invest. When I got into that 40,000 pula jump in salary in 2016 with De Beers, the first thing that I bought in the first year, I think it was 2016, 2017, I bought a property by way of mortgage. It was worth 550,000 pula in Mara Pula. And well, you'll say, well, Tali, you've just been advising us not to buy a house on mortgage. Well, this was an investment. I was not living in it, and the house had 6 tenants. The total rent they were paying was 6,000 pula total per month. And I spent another 200,000 pula to renovate this house. So total cost to me of the house was around about 750,000. So 550 for purchase, 200,000 for renovations, total 750,000. And after renovations, the rental income per month was around about 10,000 pula. It still is 10,000 pula today. We have chosen not to escalate rental because we believe it's low income accommodation. So people's salaries are not increasing, with inflation every year. So we just kept the rental the same for all these years. And this has also helped us to attract long-term staying tenants, because when there's no escalation, tenants kind of relax. They feel like they're home. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. The point is, I spent 550,000 pula to buy this property. The rental was 6,000 pula per month on day 1. And what was I paying the bank? I was paying the bank around about 5,000 pula per month on the loan repayment. So day 1, I had a surplus of 1,000 pula in cash every single month. Of course, the downside is now I have to manage all these 8 tenants who sometimes one is leaving and then I spend a month without rent from that tenant. But then I have the other 7 tenants to support me while I look for a tenant for one of the 8th apartments. And this is contrary to buying a house in the suburbs. I discourage houses in suburbs. You will get a 3-bedroomed house, maybe with a servant's quarters, boundary wall, fitted kitchens, nice looking modern finishes. You will get that for 1,200,000 pula, and you will be paying the bank around about, say, 11,000 pula per month on your monthly mortgage repayments. But what are you getting on rental with that property? I can bet you, we know the market value. Let's say in Khabo Road, Okodi Blokong, in the blocks or wherever, you're gonna get at most 7,000 pula in rental per month. But you're paying 11,000 pula to the bank. What's the deficit? It's 4,000 pula. Where is that 4,000 pula coming from? Your pocket. What happens when the job ends? Or maybe abruptly due to retrenchment, due to restructuring, whatever. What happens? You're struggling now to match. And sometimes even you don't even have a tenant. You are staying there. So you yourself are actually popping that full 11,000 pool. You understand? And even if you calculate it as, okay, fine, I am saving 7,000 that I would have been paying on rent, still you have that deficit of 4,000 pula that has to come from your pocket. When you don't have a job and you struggle to make those repayments to the bank, what do you think the bank is going to do? They repossess, they sell to the highest bidder, recover their expenses, and maybe if there's any little bit of money left over, they will give it to you. But that's not what they're after. They just want to recover their costs. So I always encourage people, don't try to, don't get into this habit, this mindset of keeping up with the Joneses and keeping up, living up the appearances of having money, living a good life, living in the suburbs, when in actual fact, deep down, in terms of what is happening with your finances, your expenses are slowly draining away your capability to build wealth, your capability to build a legacy for your kids, your capability to build a solid foundation to which you can retire to once that job ends. So investment in the ghetto, areas like Boji West, areas in Gaborone, that is, areas like Bo Bontling, areas like Bo Marwa Pula and the ghetto side of things, like where I bought my property. Those are the best. You'll find the best investments there. You'll find a house, 600,000 pula sale price, and the rental is like 5,000 pula plus. And if there is a deficit, it will be small. You will just have to top up with a little bit on those monthly loan repayments. So save and invest. Invest wisely. And sometimes you need to save money before you can invest, because the thing you want to invest in requires a bulk amount. I always encourage people to save in an interest-bearing account. In this video, I'm not sponsored by any bank. However, I do use First National Bank Botswana. They have really some good deals. I've compared around, and in this year, 2024, what I found is they offer a really good deal with their flexi fixed savings accounts. You can get 2 terms. You can get a 6-month term, or you can get a 12-month term on that account. I personally like the 12-month term. The interest rate is slightly higher. And normally the interest rate is equal to or beats inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is basically the fact that 1 pula today will not buy you what 1 pula tomorrow can buy you. So if a lollipop is 1 pula today, in a year's time from today, a lollipop might be 1 pula 4 tebe. That means the inflation has risen by 4%. So you ideally want to put your money into an interest-bearing account with, say, inflation almost equal to that 4%. So if interest you're getting is 4%, if I put 1 pula into that bank account today, and interest is 4% per annum, within 1 year's time, that 1 pula is 1 pula 4 tebe. So if I go to that street vendor again in a year's time and I say I want to buy a lollipop, and they say it's 1 pula 4 tebe, I don't have to pop any extra money from my pocket. That same 1 pula that I put in a year back is enough to buy me that lollipop. That's what the value of an interest-bearing account does. And that's why I recommend people to keep money in an account that's interest-bearing. Don't keep money in your check account while you're saving. That's bad financial decisions. So the big question I want to ask you is, what income-generating assets do you currently have in this very moment? Go through your inventory. Look at it. You probably have a house in the home village. You have a house that you're living in the city. You maybe have moraka, a cattle post, or masimu. Which one of those are income-generating assets? Can you trace the income over the past month or year? How much has it been giving you? Is it profitable? Is it making a loss? Seldom do we make that calculation, but it's ever so vital in this era where financial literacy is the maker and breaker of families, of happiness, of really most things that you want to achieve. Tip number 3. So hopefully you've been doing all these things for all these years that you're working, and now you get your exit package. I'd love to see some comments on the comment section below of how people who have retired previously, how they've spent their exit packages. What do you wish you could have done differently? Did you spend wisely? Is there things that you regret that you bought? I've personally met many retired people that have spent their money in ways that they regret. Uh, and that's why I always recommend spend 6 to 12 months before you spend any of this money. Take your time. There's no rush. You're not under pressure. This deal that has just suddenly come to you, oh my God, it's a good deal. It's a second-hand vehicle. It's a second-hand tractor. It's not the last deal to come. It's not a do or die situation. You won't be regretting it for the rest of your life. Take your time. Don't buy. Because suddenly, somehow, when you start to get hold of large chunks of money, all these opportunities start to come your way. It's like people can sense. I think these sellers who are in the sales, in the sales and marketing field, they kind of sense. They can intuitively tell that this guy has money, and they will come for you, and it will seem like the best deal ever. But my advice: take your time, fix your money, put it aside, do your research. Talk to other people who have bought the thing that you want to buy. Talk to other sellers who sell the item that you want to buy. Compare, contrast, do your numbers, seek advice. Comment below if you're about to retire and ask for help. If I can make time, I'll make time and just try to take you through what you should be thinking about. Talk to other people, talk to your children. They probably understand finances better. Just don't rush into spending your money. Ideally, you want to put your money towards something that's going to generate income back. If you're going to spend towards renovating your house, your ceiling, normally I don't recommend that, but don't let it be a substantial amount. Let it be less than 20% of what your total exit package is. And try to spend the majority of the large chunk of your exit package on an income generating asset or investment. Even the stock exchange is an income generating asset. Do your research, talk to people who can advise you, and make the investment. So that's all. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hoped it would be 10 minutes long. It's been a little bit longer. I will do other videos to follow this up or to elaborate on some areas. I've been in several businesses. I've worked in several companies before. I will do more videos on managing your expenses, more videos on doing property development or property investment, how to buy a property, if you have bare land, what could you do with it? What is the first starting point? Who do you go see, and how do you approach the whole thing? I have a plant hire business which services construction with plant for construction purposes and civil earthworks. And I will do a video on how you might start a plant hire business, where you might source your funding, what kind of returns do you expect to make, what expenses will you incur, what challenges might you encounter in your journey. Another video, I'm a family guy, I'm married, I have 3 kids, do a video a little bit on that. I've been a fake farmer. I still am a fake farmer. Fake farmer as in I have land, I've drilled a borehole, and we were hoping to really get into farming. However, for some reason, I didn't invest much time in it. But I do understand the area of farming, and having failed largely in execution, I can share some tips on how to avoid my failures. So let me know in the comment section down below which section that I talked about you liked the most, which one you'd like me to expand on, or any questions that you hope I'll cover in my future videos. Thank you guys. I love you, and I appreciate your presence watching this video with me and interacting with me in the comment section. Bye. Enjoy your day.